Hello, friends, and welcome to another video lesson from DBOS Talks. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified of new uploads. This is the first video in a playlist called from Excel to SQL, and this is a series of videos which can help you learn SQL using your knowledge in Excel. So in this very first video, you'll be learning about data and data types. Okay, so let's first take a look at Excel. So if we can have a look at some data, when you try to learn about database, it's at the very heart of it is actually data. So we need to understand data in a more serious perspective. Okay, so we can have a good understanding once we get into the details, into the deeper things of SQL. Okay, let's take a look at an Excel sheet, which you're very familiar with, and then it contains some data of different types. In Excel, you will notice that there is here, I'm pointing at this one now. There's a drop down here, which is, if you point at it, it's just labeled number format. But in reality, if for somebody who knows SQL, it may actually represent data types. Not all of them, but many of them, such as number, text. Okay, maybe not everything, but date is there. So this is almost the equivalent of what is known as data type in SQL. Okay, whatever flavor of SQL you may be trying to learn. Okay, so let's take a look at this table. This is also called a table even outside of our DBMS, even in Word, Excel, you would call this a table. It's data presented in columns and rows in a tabular format. Okay, so I have highlighted a couple of columns in blue, surname, birth date, and salary for a certain purpose, and that is to have a closer look at data types. Okay, so if we look under the values under column surname, okay, if we go one by one and click on each cell like Ruiz, Pasternak, these things, and then you go to this drop down here, you can see the value is text. If I slide down, I mean key down, all of them have this type of text, right? That's for the column called surname. If I go to so that is text, all these are text. For birth date, I will also do the same thing and go to each and every value under that column and then look at this drop down here. And earlier it was text. For surname, here it is showing date. That's the type of data you are seeing, date. I go down, key down, down arrow key. It's also date, 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 sorry, date. All of them are date. All right. So we have seen two different types of data so far. These are called text, while these are called date. Now let's move on to the next column in blue called salary. If I go and click my mouse on the values under that column and then look at this drop down, it shows number. Okay, and then if I further go down with my down arrow key, all of them are number. All right. So with these three columns, we have seen three different types of data in Excel alone. And these are called text. These are called date or classified as date, while these are classified as number. Okay, so we have seen how certain types of data are being classified as in Excel. Now let's look at Oracle SQL. Okay, let me just get it. So there's a table here, which I have been using in many videos, and I'll be using it again. Okay, select asterisk from employees. Never mind the SQL statement. I just wanted to look at the data itself. Okay. So if you look at the data being returned by this table, this is also called a table. It has a name called employees. You will notice that the data being returned or being displayed is very much familiar looking, isn't it? That's because it's the same as what we have seen here in Excel. Okay, I just pasted it here and then, okay, just so you could have that comparison. So this is Excel and this is the same data as presented in or being fetched by SQL. The language, SQL is the language used to manipulate or query data in a database. Okay, so this is the data, but if we want to look at the table structure, at the structure of this table, how it is being defined, the data in it is being defined, then you will do a shift F4 here. Okay, and so we see the columns here, and then we see the data types in here. Okay, so let's focus on the three columns that we have examined in Excel, which are surname, birth date, and salary. For surname, you can see it's varchar2. It's called varchar2. You can ignore the 30, it's the length, but for now, let's focus on the data type. So surname is varchar2. Okay, var is like var character. It's like variable length character. Okay, and then next is what is the next? Birth date. Birth date. If we go to birth date, the data type is date. And then finally, the third column is salary, and the data type of that is number. All right. So we have seen the table structure of a table called employees, and they have these data types which sound very familiar and very similar to what they are called in Excel. Okay. So that is Oracle SQL. Earlier we saw Excel. Now I'll jump right into the comparison of these two. So we have actually compared, we have taken a look at three columns in the data we have, and we focused on the column surname, birth date, and salary. And then we looked at how these data are being classified in Excel and in Oracle SQL. We noticed that a surname can be classified as text in Excel, whereas in Oracle SQL, it's called varchar2. Okay, birth date can be classified as date, data type in Excel, although it's not called data type. In Oracle SQL, it's also called date, same name. Salary in Excel can be a number, and in Oracle SQL, it can also be a number. So 2 out of 3, I have highlighted them in green. What I mean is that the data type is called in the same way, exactly the same way between Excel and Oracle SQL. Okay, so there are more than 10 Oracle SQL data types, but do not be bothered by that. These three, varchar2, date, and number, it's a good starting place. It's a good starting point because these are the most commonly used data types across the landscape of the database. Okay, we have float, we have car, we have Boolean, but these three, varchar2, date, and number, are the most common, hands down. Okay, so it's a good starting point for you. And remember, in this maiden video, we are digging and scratching the surface so that you can have that jump start. Okay, from having your Excel knowledge, you can jump right into learning SQL using your SQL Excel knowledge. Okay, so thank you for listening and watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell. I will be seeing you in the next video.